One. All right. All right, people. We are live. This is this week edition. Welcome to this week's edition of Fights Unwrapped. To the right of me is my co-host Alec Carr. Now, Alec Carr, we always gotta do this in the beginning where we test your memory skills. So if you
I've been
could,
good.
okay, you want to know right now. So you want to know. So if you wanted to plug anything in, like maybe some type of show or Twitter handle, you may do so right now, and we'll test you again.
So yeah, actually, you can follow me as always at AlecTDCar on Twitter. For my personal stuff, my off the wall opinions, about fights, about basketball, about football, really any sport. You can also follow us, meaning me and the little network guy, not network, but section I have of Philadelphia sports at Fourth and 26 Sports on Twitter.
There you
Also,
go.
a little breaking news. I spoke to my former co-host of our podcast, and he's interested in maybe if again this is if we have time of making a comeback. So there might be a little bit. There might be more announcements for Fourth and 26 Sports in the future. As of right now, we're just retweeting Philadelphia content, sports content, breaking news, um, and some Philadelphia opinions, obviously, because one thing about Philadelphians is we're very opinionated. So yeah, you can follow me at all those. Also, I'll be on and off of Hoops Unwrapped too, part of the Unwrapped network.
Nice. Awesome. See, there you go. You're 2 for 0. 2 for 0. Alex Carr, very good. All right, so before we get into our UFC headlines, which we don't really have UFC headlines this week, however, before we get into that, we got to talk about our sponsors for Unwrapped Sports. So the first one is rxhemp.com. So if anybody, even though I know in Toronto it's a lockdown, and a lot of other places are still in lockdown, if you are still working out, if you're still training, and you have those aches and pains, rxhemp.com has some amazing CBD products. If you don't believe us, you can believe Carlos Condit. That's right, UFC welterweight fighter right there, and he speaks very, very highly of these products. We have a promo code which is rxhemp-usn for 10% off your order. So make sure you go and visit rxhemp.com. Second thing is that even though we have one more fight card, I am still gonna bet on this fight card, Alec Card, because that is the type of woman that I am. And what I use to do that is mybookie.ag. Now you can actually double up your deposit if you register with our promo code USN100, and you can double up your first deposit up to $1,000. Like I said, if you have up to $1,000 lying around and you want to use that on something in betting, then visit mybookie.ag. And also, Alucard, if you want to just quickly model your T-shirt really quickly, we at teesprings.com/fights slash dash you dash unwrapped. So fights unwrapped. Yeah, that's a really long tongue twister right there. So teesprings.com-fights dash us sorry not usn dash unwrapped. I don't know why that was a hard thing for me to say. That's gonna be my homework. That's gonna be my homework for the following week. So you can follow us. We have merch. We have this beautiful T-shirt as well as a mug as well that you can purchase. So teespring.com/fights dash unwrapped. There you go. I got it. That's the first time for me saying that. All right. So Alakar, like I said, we don't really have headlines. We will preview the fight card coming up, which is Wonderboy Thompson versus Jeff Neal, which should be a good one. It's now down to 14 fights, but that's okay. It was up to 15 before, but we had a casualty. Unfortunately, we were just talking about that. But first things first, we must talk about this fight that just happened on Saturday. Me, Alec Carr, our other associate Dustin Hunt, I'm sure none of us predicted that the fight was going to prevail and go all the way to the distance and also have it be a draw at the end of the day. So, I mean, I guess I can start with my thoughts first on it. Amazing. I mean, it was pretty much the fight that I wanted. I told Alec Carr, I think the last time we were on air, I wanted it to be competitive, and it definitely was. I believe maybe the later rounds, Moreno, obviously with the point deduction from Figgy, that definitely helped him get more points, and that's why it became the draw that it is. But Alucard, what did you think about the fight? It was spectacular. I think we can all agree about that.
Yeah, I mean, I still struggle to describe that fight, like to find words to describe how amazing and incredible and spectacular that the show that they both put on. Um, Figgy was throwing everything at Moreno. He's putting all his power that he could. Now we'll talk about that in a little bit. That maybe that power was a little bit less because of previous hospital visit, but he was still hitting them so hard, and Moreno was taking it. Um, it was just he he said he was a Mexican fighter, and Mexican fighters don't go down easy, and he definitely proved that. And it wasn't just like he was a punching bag in there; like he wasn't just taking shots after shots. He was landing his own shots. He was taking Figgy down. Um, it was a little odd that Figgy. I thought he would be a little bit better from the ground, but that again could have been because of his dehydration issues the night before, or sorry, or whatever it was that led him to the
Yeah,
hospital.
yeah,
Um, for those who don't know, Figgy was in the hospital the night before the fight. It was not COVID related. It was an illness. Typically, he does a huge weight cut, and it has to do with his weight cut, meaning he was severely dehydrated, which
hmm
give him props for even being in that octagon. And that I just I was we got to the fourth round and I was just going, it's a draw. It's gonna end in a draw. Like there's no
yeah.
way. How could you pick a winner, right?
Yeah, I couldn't pick a winner, that's for sure. Like basically that's what the title of our banner is. That this is just something that we're looking forward to in 2021. We're going to be talking about in terms of our headlines, just a little bit of context. Our headlines, we don't have any major headlines, but we're going to be talking about the matchups and the topics that we're looking forward to in 2021. And this for sure is going to be the first thing that I'm looking forward to because I want to run it back. I want to see the Mexican fighting spirit. I want to see a healthy. I want to see a healthy Davison Figueroa because when you told me about the hospital visit, I was just like, okay, that makes I don't know why it makes a little bit more sense just because for me and for you and for Dustin, for pretty much anybody in Fights Unwrapped, a lot of people thought this was going to be an easy fight. A very, very dominating fight for Davison Figueroa for the champion. But it ended up being not only did it end up being a draw, not only did it end up going the distance, but if you can see, did you see Figueroa's reaction right after the fight? He was crying, and I was just like, wait a second. There's something going on that we just don't know about. I'm pretty sure he was crying because he had there's some speculation for me at least that it had to do with that weight cut. That really,
Mm-hmm.
that probably took a lot out of him. And the fact that he was hospitalized a day before he had to fight. So like for me, I want to see I want to see healthy Davison Figueroa. I want to see that matchup again. I'm not saying it won't go the distance or anything. I'm just saying that probably had to do a lot with his reaction afterwards. It probably has to do a little bit when it comes to he was frustrated. He was frustrated in the fight. You can see moments, especially with that low blow with the the point deduction. You can see Figueroa getting a little bit frustrated as well, and he got a little bit tired and he got hit with shots which I've never seen anybody do to Figueroa before in my life. But obviously, shout out to Brandon Moreno, not taking anything away from him or anything like that. So I'm excited to see that rematch, and that should be
Yeah,
the first thing they should run it back for sure.
yeah,
ASAP.
they should definitely run it back. And just so I just want to make it clear, the reason we're being a little nicer on Figgy than other fighters for struggling with the weight cut is because the quick turnaround Figgy and Moreno did, but
Yeah,
Moreno doesn't do as drastic as a weight cut as Figgy does. Um, and to do that twice in what 3 weeks? That's insane.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely insane. Um, and yeah, like you said, he looked tired by the third round, which you wouldn't expect from Figgy, who's all about conditioning. I will say this after the last thing I'll say is I gained so much respect for Figgy off of the outside of the octagon for this fight.
Mhm.
He came off as super humble afterwards. He didn't even really bring up that he was in the hospital. I think he mentioned it, but it was more like, yeah, I'm fine. Yes, I was in the hospital, no big deal. Um,
Mhm.
and he gave so much credit to Moreno for being in there, and you could see the embrace after the fight. He just looked like a totally different guy that we're used to, a one that was, you know, I'm sure they both see the draw as a loss. Moreno's definitely a lot happier about it ending in a draw,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
For
Biggie is
sure.
pissed, and it will be interesting to see the difference in the fight with Figgy with a full fight camp, healthy and ready to go. Whereas in this
Yeah.
fight, he clearly wasn't, just by his demeanor. You could see that he was frustrated throughout the whole fight.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think the last thing I'm gonna say is that, what do you expect when the turnaround is that quick? What about 3, 4 weeks or something? What do you expect is going to happen? Of course, Moreno, I had no doubts in my mind that he was gonna have the easier weight cut. He was gonna have like his attitude coming into this was gonna be good, and like Figgy, like I'm just saying, like, he obviously, maybe it's for the media or something. He's playing off, the mean champion, kind of like, oh, like, he's coming for my belt. Okay, fine. Like, we'll just do it, we'll just stay in Las Vegas and do it again. Like, that was his kind of, like, demeanor going into it. But I think people, they don't really realize, like, how much he actually had to go through during these 3, 4 weeks before the fight. So I'm not going to be, like, we're not going to be, like, we're saying we're going to be nice about it, but it's basically, like, we're gonna get some leeway. We're gonna give a little bit of leeway. We want to
Yeah.
see a healthier. But it just reminded me of, like, when Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje, that one, like that fight. Like, I was a little bit. I gave him a little bit of leeway just because, like, there wasn't a full, like, training camp there. He wasn't, like, really prepared for Justin Gaethje. Speaking of, we will talk about that a little bit. Alex Carr, I was so disappointed. You have no idea. I was so disappointed in that fight just because. I mean, I wasn't disappointed. Like, I saw it going that way, but I was just like, I wanted more from Tony, and he just like let Charles Oliveira dominate him pretty much on the ground. So
Yeah, it just shows that, Dana was right. He's not
mhm.
the same Tony anymore.
Khabib
Khabib
was
doesn't
right.
feel the need.
Khabib was right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Khabib was right. He doesn't feel the need to fight him because he's not. He's unfortunately just not at the top of his game anymore, and no one blames him. He's been in absolute battles
Oh yeah.
his entire career, and he's had an injury history. Plus, he's what, in his mid to late 30s. So
Yeah.
I mean, when you have that many injuries and you've been in that many battles, his fight age is probably 45. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his actual fight age is he probably
Yeah.
fights like a 45-year-old fighter because he's been so battle tested. But I mean,
Mhm.
I'm not trying to take away anything from Oliveira because he dominated that fight, and I
Oh
can't.
yeah. Dude.
I would be, I would be so interested to see him against Khabib. I would love that fight. It wouldn't be very entertaining because it would just be ground game war. But
Yeah, I mean, it kind of a little bit entertaining. I like seeing the transitions, to be honest with you, like when it comes to
right,
grappling. But yeah, I get what you mean
true
by
fight
that.
fans would love it. True fight fans would love it. The
Yeah,
casuals, the ones that are looking for the highlights, it's not going to draw them in. But that would be such a crazy fight.
right. Well, speaking of crazy fights, Oliveira, I believe afterwards he was calling out, like, imagine him versus Conor McGregor. So he called that out. I remember. It's like,
I don't,
I know.
I don't think Conor wants anything to do with that after seeing that.
No, exactly. So, well, speaking of Conor McGregor, he is going to make his return finally. How many years has it been? Like maybe like 2, 3 years since like Conor
Well,
McGregor. Yeah,
he fought Cowboy this year. Remember?
that's right. It feels longer than that.
Yeah, yeah,
It
that's
feels
COVID
longer.
brain.
We're on the COVID brain, that's for sure. So,
It
speaking
does.
of which,
It feels like years ago.
like Francis Ngannou fought someone in May or something like that, and I still think that he hasn't fought in 2 years. So that's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
where my mind is at. Speaking of the return of Conor McGregor, he's fought earlier this year, is inevitable in 2021, January 23rd. He will be facing off against Dustin Poirier for a second time. It's going to be a rematch, and that's something that we are looking forward to. That yes, Alika, we are very looking forward to that rematch. Even though we still have the same ending as the first one. We basically think that Conor McGregor is going to win against Dustin Poirier, but this fight has. Do you know the marketing that this fight has had so far? And it's not even like we're weeks away from that fight. And the marketing they spent at least a whole month, if not 2 months, marketing this fight. So bubble wrap everybody, please bubble wrap those two fighters still, even though we are still more than a month away from that fight. So I think our opinions haven't changed like one bit in terms of who we think is gonna win this fight. I mean, McGregor's looking sharp, same as Dustin. Same as Dustin. Not gonna take anything away from him or anything like that. But McGregor's looking real sharp, and especially training other disciplines like you mentioned. I know Alikar is more of the Conor McGregor fan than I am, but still I can respect Conor McGregor for the skill set that he has, and I just every time I see him in his training, it just makes me think he's gonna win this fight. No offense to Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier hits hard. Don't get me wrong. Dustin Poirier is a great striker. But it's just that I don't know, man. There's something with Conor McGregor that you just can't. I just don't bet against Conor McGregor unless it's against Khabib. That's the only. That's the only fighter. You already know why, and I'm sure everybody else will know why. I wouldn't bet against Khabib against Conor McGregor, but so why do you think? And I know Alikar, we mentioned this a little bit. Why are you in particular excited about not only this fight but what it means for the lightweight division?
So yeah, first, why I'm excited for this fight is it's Conor. I mean, man, surprise, surprise, the champ is back. I mean, seriously, this guy he brings so much entertainment to the UFC. He changed the fight game. Don't get it twisted. Whether you like him or not, you have to credit him. He changed the fight game and is a big reason to why the UFC is where it is today in popularity. Um, well, and part of it is because people hate him because they want to see him lose, and he just keeps winning, except for when he fights Khabib. Uh,
Except
um,
when he fights Khabib. There you go.
and I can't wait. I'm excited for the fight. Don't get me wrong. I'm super excited for the fight to see the best Dustin. This is the best Dustin we've ever seen. Um, fight Conor again. But I'm so excited for the pre-fight shit talking. I'm so
Yeah,
excited for his antics, his
everything. You're excited
antics
for
at
all
the
of that.
weigh-in.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a betting line on whether he throws a water bottle or not.
We should make one.
um,
We should make
I
one.
just he's just an entertaining guy, and as far as how this fight's gonna go, I don't think anything's changed. The one thing that we haven't mentioned that I just actually just now thought about was
Hmm.
Conor's been training for triathlon. That's part of what he's been doing. So think about this, right? Conor McGregor's all reports indicate is a much better and accurate striker than he already was. He's
Yeah.
been working on Muay Thai to get that Muay Thai clinch and add that aspect to his game. And he's been apparently working like hell on his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling as well. So imagine all that plus
Yeah.
a Conor McGregor with a higher gas tank.
Yeah. I was gonna say the
I know
cardio.
this is a lot of ifs, but if that's true, if that's all true, it I mean that's the scariest guy in the lightweight division. I mean it's
Hmm.
not been a long time, but he that scares. If I'm Khabib, that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor with a gas tank scares me.
I'm sure. I'm sure Khabib is not scared. When
He's
it comes
never
to Conor
scared.
McGregor,
Let's get.
he's
I'm
never
I'm not
scared.
saying right,
Yeah.
but and as far as the lightweight division, Conor's back. He's ready. He seems very motivated. Like he's like got that chip on his shoulder again. But just
Hmm.
because Khabib's gone doesn't mean that this is going to be easy for him.
No,
This division is still extremely tough.
it's still
Um,
stacked. It's still stacked for sure.
yeah. So
So, what do you think this means for the division? Like now we talked about the actual fight, like what do you think? Like the winner of this. This is an if, because if Khabib is not gonna come back, if he's gonna vacate that title, if he's actually serious about retiring, which I believe he is, you know, do you think the winner of this is going to be the next champion, or the winner of this will have to face off against somebody else to be the next champion, be the next lightweight champion?
I think I don't think the winner of this is the next champion. I don't think that's fair to the division, and I don't think it's fair to the fans. To be honest with you, let's make this
Yeah,
entertaining. I
yeah.
think I'm all on board with it. We've mentioned it before. Chandler's
Michael Chandler.
informal tournament. Yeah, Michael Chandler's informal tournament idea that he has. Like, let's do a fighting. Let's see who's the best.
Yeah,
Um, I would love that. I would love to see those guys that the winner of this go on to fight the winner of the Chandler fight, whoever he's fighting, because we still don't know.
I think
Um,
it's Gaethje. I still think it's gonna be Justin
I th-
Gaethje. I'm hoping it is.
I think so. So this is why I'm so excited for the lightweight division for 2021, because this is
Yeah.
how I see it playing out. Right. So Connor beats Dustin. Chandler beats Gaethje. I know it's bold,
Oh
but
shit.
Chandler
Yeah.
beats Gaethje. Connor Connor and Chandler fight for the title. Um,
I would love that.
and this might bring us into 2022 because this is a lot of fights. But Connor
Yeah.
and Chandler fight for the title, and then whoever wins that, I'm going to go with Connor right now. Whoever wins that fights Oliveira for the first defense. I think
That's
that would be
a
so fun.
that'd be that's a wait for Oliveira though. He would have to
He
face
might get
one more person, but I don't think he should because he's already beat Tony Ferguson. So he should be in that picture. Of like who it
right.
is. Yeah.
Maybe while all this is going on, Oliveira fights like Dustin Poirier. Maybe he gets one more notch under his belt because I don't. And this is maybe me being me, but I don't think he deserves his next fight to be a title shot quite yet. I think he needs
Well,
one
not
more fight
title
under his
shot.
belt.
Yeah, one more. But who is he gonna fight though? Everybody else. It feels like if we're right about Chandler versus Gaethje, it feels like everybody is matched up. If we're not mistaken, if I'm not
That's
mistaken, in
true.
the
I just see this is where my crazy brain gets me in trouble because I get these ideas. Um,
yeah,
I'm trying to think of who else is in
yeah,
maybe
think
he
of a
fights
good one.
Hooker. Maybe he fights
Oh
Hooker.
yeah, that's right. I forget
Yeah,
about Hooker all the time.
because he never
I always
fights.
forget about him. Yeah, yeah,
That would be
exactly.
cool. That would be awesome. He fights Hooker and then he waits.
That sucks for him though. He has to wait because like he's just proven himself by a lot. But I can see why he has to wait because that division is so stacked that it's like Speaking of which, I wanted to bring up this topic right before we jump into the next one, just because I personally, speaking of people that have to wait, Francis freaking Ngannou, who we've always mentioned, I want I want that matchup. I want that matchup signed, sealed, and delivered to all the fans. That's against hopefully Stipe Miocic for the title because that man, if anyone is like deserving of that title match, it is Mr. Francis Ngannou. That's just my opinion though. Speaking of which, I'm looking forward to that in 2021, but I don't know if we're gonna get that, Alucard. They saying March,
I
but
think we will. I don't. I don't know why
I'm
we
hoping.
wouldn't.
I'm
Dana
hoping.
said. I mean, when John
Yeah.
Jones first made his announcement to heavyweight, Dana said Jones is going to get a title shot, but Ngannou's up next. So I don't know why they would deviate from the plan. John is conceived. He said he wants to wait and take his time, so it's not like he's in a huge rush. I'm sure he
Yeah.
wants to fight in 2021, but March might be a little bit too early in his timeline. So,
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
because
Speaking
Dana's
of which,
letting him. Yeah, speaking of which, John Jones' heavyweight debut
yeah,
um, is inevitable in 2021, right? So yeah, Dana's giving him leeway to gain all this weight so that he can cut down, and it's real weight, and it's not water weight. It's actual weight
yeah,
with power behind it. And
Yeah.
we've talked about it before a million times. John Jones, and I've said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more. John Jones, a focused John Jones at heavyweight is the most terrifying thing the UFC has ever seen. And
Yeah.
nobody, as much as I love that division, nobody except maybe Ngannou because of his power stands a chance against him.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm excited to see who he's going to fight because I really want to see his debut because like mentally he's there. Like we talked about how Tony Ferguson mentally was just not there for this fight against Charles Oliveira, even though he tried to convince everybody he is, but he kept whining about like not doing this fight and all that freaking bullshit about Oliveira doesn't make weight and stuff like that. So like I want to see this is a motivated John Jones. This is a new John Jones, and I'm hoping, he stays the course. You know, extracurricular activities need to like be on pause or something like that because I want to see. I really, he's a fighter that got me into the MMA. Of course, I want to see him thrive, and of course, I want to see him actually do his thing, and hopefully that means it's because of heavyweight. So we shall see. So I don't know who he would be put up against at first. You know, hopefully the Izzy versus John Jones rumors are put to rest. I don't think to be fair, I think that they're saying it's gonna be Izzy versus uh, Jan Blakovic for the light heavyweight strap, but that's just that's just not gonna sell. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what
I'm
Dana's
not
saying.
excited.
I'm not
I don't
excited
get
about it.
excited for that fight.
Yeah, no
Um,
offense,
and
no offense to Jan Blakovic, no offense to him, but yeah, just
The
saying.
other thing about John Jones is his most recent comments were that he finally admitted I wasn't motivated at light heavyweight. I didn't care anymore. I wasn't training hard. I wasn't doing actual fight camps. I just didn't care. And you could definitely see that. But apparently now he said he's got the chip on his shoulder like he did when he first came up. He's ready. He wants to beat the crap out of these guys and show he belongs at the heavyweight division, which we did show in one of our previous streams. We showed John Jones, what was that, at 245?
Yeah,
That was
and
scary.
yeah, he looked scary. He looked very scary. I don't know if you saw it. This is a little bit off topic, but John Jones basically when Clarissa Shields now she is training with Jackson Wink Academy, and so basically everybody there they had this little dance montage. Then afterwards they had John Jones do the same dance montage. So there's like a this essence of a family there, and he looks like he's in good spirits. Just like with this whole weight training and everything like that. So very, very excited to see John Jones debut. Now, we are going to bring up. I know, Alec, your rant of the week. We're gonna have to bring it up a little bit just because this is like probably the only, in terms of major headline, we can say like from the UFC. So, Alec's rant of the week is going to be talking about Jake Paul and the Paul brothers, and basically, I don't know how it started. Alec Carr, you might have to refresh my memory, but I'm sure it has to do with Jake Paul calling out Conor McGregor, and also Dana White's pretty much saying like, "Oh, we'll just get Amanda Nunes to beat the shit out of him." Right? Did you see that? To knock him out or something like that. So, and Amanda Nunes like made a funny post about that as well, saying like, "Well, I guess I'll be doing that." So it's just what are they doing? This is not it's entertainment, but it's not the type of entertainment that the fans really want. At least I don't think so. Maybe YouTube fans want this entertainment, but not true fight fans. I hope that they don't because you want to see Jake Paul get knocked down and like that's just a waste of Dana's time. That's a waste of but Dana's like he's not excusing it. That's the problem. He's just like, okay, I don't know how serious he is about it, but like, okay, well, I'll let Alex Carr do the whole rant because I'm starting to rant about it myself. So
So before I start the rant, to address that, Dana White's going to play it out and see if it makes sense money wise. He's a businessman. He's a really good businessman. That's all he's doing. I don't think it ever happened. Um, and to Conor's credit, he's been pretty silent on this. He's more or less kind of just ignoring it as he should. Um, Jake Paul, you started doing your boxing training, and I actually gained a little bit of respect for you because you came in and
Mhm.
he said, I'm going to be respectful to the sport. This is a combat sport. It's a sport about ultimate respect. Two people in a ring or in an octagon respecting each other as fighters. They might talk all kinds of shit, but at the end of the day, this is a sport about respect. And to his credit, he was when he first started training with professional boxing team.
Yeah.
That's what his mindset was. Since then, he has said, "Fuck that. I'm going to do whatever I want," as the Paul brothers do,
Mhm.
and make this a YouTube sensation. I'm going to throw water bottles at Dylan Dennis, and I don't like Dylan Dennis that much, but you don't go throw water balloons, not bottles, water balloons at a
Even
grown ass
better.
man.
I
Yeah,
know.
you don't just go do that, and to do it on a drive by, and then Dylan Dennis goes over to confront you, and you drive away laughing like what are you doing, Jake Paul? This is a sport where combat sports are all about respect, and you're
Mhm.
ruining it. You are everything. You're catering to everything that's
It's
bad,
wrong. Yeah, that's
that's
wrong.
wrong with the sport. You're catering to the
Mhm.
people who think the UFC and boxing fans and UFC fans are just a whole bunch of meatheads and jocks that love watching people beat the crap out of each other. And
Mhm.
that's just not it. That's not true. The
It's
true
not
fight
true.
fans, the real fight fans, and the real fighters, boxing,
Yeah.
MMA, kickboxing, the grappling people, the people that only do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, the real ones know that this is an art form, that this is a sport that takes years and years of training. And Jake Paul, you have only fought nobody. You fought another YouTube star, and you fought Nate Robinson.
I know Nate
Now,
Robinson. Jesus
now you're
Christ.
gonna go get your ass kicked against Floyd, who's not even gonna train for the fight.
Oh, that's Logan. Logan's gonna get his ass kicked
Oh,
against.
sorry, that's Logan. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm grouping the brothers together.
Yeah, that's
It's
okay.
but it is just so dumb and annoying, and I want them to go away. I've wanted them to go away for a long time, but
Yeah.
now it's just I've lost all respect for them. You're doing everything that's bad for a sport just to make a quick buck. So for Dana, I know he's not really committing either way. I don't really expect him to, but good on Conor McGregor for not making a comment. Good on the actual fighters
Yeah.
who are
Yeah.
being called out for not making a comment, except for like making it a joke, because that's what it is. It's a fucking joke, and he
It's
needs to shut up and
literally
go away.
every single fight fan, my friends, your friends, I'm sure everybody that you talk to about this are just like, come on, man, just stay in your lane. What are you doing? Like, just stop ruining it for us. Like, we don't want to see you get your ass beat. Like, seriously, like you're gonna get your ass beat like literally on the street if you keep doing the antics that you're doing, like throwing water balloons at Dylan Dennis, kind of thing. Stop making it a childish thing. Martial arts at the end of the day is an art form. It's full of respect. It's full of discipline, and it's just. I think what the sad part is, Alucard, is that our complaining and stuff. That's actually feeding them. That's feeding their attention. At the end of the day, it's true, and I'm right about this because that's exactly what they want. They just want a reaction from all these fans and from Dana and from all these fighters. But so far, they're getting reactions from us fans. But thankfully, and maybe from Dana, but thankfully they're not getting the reaction. Hopefully from these fighters, maybe a little bit of a Dylan Donis, but that's that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
So
the man had water balloons thrown at him out in public. He was leaving the gym or something. I would have
yeah,
freaked out.
exactly. So that's what I say. Stay in your lane, Paul brothers, because you are ruining it for everyone. Last headline before we get into the fight, just because I really want to address this. I'm still really, excited about Burns versus Usman in 2021. I believe that's going to be February 13th. A little bit of a Valentine's Day present for everybody. So there you go. Usman versus Burns. It's been a long time in the making. I'm still excited about it, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm not as excited as I was before, just because this fight has been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. But What are your thoughts, Alucard, going into this? I know, you know what? We talked about this extensively because I told you this fight has been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back to the point where I know that me and you, we are pretty big Usman fans. We respect the hell out of him. He is dangerous in that division. We think he's gonna be champion, and I think he's gonna stay champion against Burns. Personally, he has just so many different ways of winning, and yeah, he's just a smart fighter at the end of the day. So, Alucard, what do you think about this matchup? Even though we've talked extensively about this,
Yeah,
previously.
I'm super excited for it too.
Mhm.
I guess I'm weird. I love watching Usman fight. People call me weird for that because it can be boring. Um, i.e. the Masvidal fight, but he had to be.
Yeah,
You're not going to go blow for blow with Jorge Masvidal. That would be stupid.
smart
Um,
fighter. At the end of the day,
yeah,
smart fighter. Fight
yeah.
IQ. You know what I mean?
Now that Khabib's gone, he, and even before Khabib, to be honest with you, he might be the most well-rounded, other than John Jones and maybe
Yeah,
Izzy, but I wouldn't call Izzy particularly well-rounded. He doesn't really have a good top ground game.
that's
Um,
true. That's true. Actually, he doesn't need
Usman
it.
is
Yeah.
he doesn't need it. Maybe he does. We don't know. We haven't seen it.
Well, okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe he does. Maybe he does.
But Usman has it. He can go blow for people when he needs to. He's got crisp, clean striking. He can hold you against the cage.
Oh yeah.
He re, he reminds me a lot of GSP. He can dominate the
Yeah.
fight however he really wants to.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think he does that here. Like we've said before, I think he unfortunately we both love Burns. We love the Burns brothers, but
Yes.
I think he's just gonna go in there and do his thing and dominate this fight. And um, I think it might go all the way to his decision. Just because of the
Hmm.
style of the fighters and the type of fight that
Yeah.
it's going to lend to.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody making unless somebody lands a clean shot. But I got Usman winning this fight definitely.
The only way Burns is going to win, which is going to be very hard to do, is because I don't see Usman getting knocked out. It's very hard to do that against Usman. But Burns is just going to, if he's just going to strike with him, he's going to try to take him down, but Usman's not going to let that happen, that's for sure. So I just feel like Burns has only a few weapons he can use against Usman. So that was just my last let's call it headline before we get into the fights. Speaking of which, UFC Vegas 17. That's right. Thompson versus Neal is this Saturday, and then we will have, unfortunately, a 2-week layover until the next fight, which I believe is Holloway versus Qatar, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just gonna bring up this topology really, really quick, and we'll get into it. Just because there are quite a few fights in this card right here. So the first one on the bottom, which I know you're not a big fan of, and I'm not a big fan of either, is Marcin Tybura versus Greg Hardy. And let's just put this out there: me and Alec Hart, we are not fans of Greg Hardy whatsoever, and we will never root for him to win a fight. Okay, let's just it's just because of obviously the whole domestic abuse situation, we do not stand for that, and that's just a disclaimer that I'm just gonna put out there because it's very, very important. Me and Alucard, we are not scared of talking about this kind of stuff, so that's just one of those things out there. But we're gonna try to be objective. I'm gonna try to be objective and say that Hardy has a good chance of winning. You know why? Because Tybura, every time he's lost, it's literally because of punches. He's literally gone like knocked out or TKO'd. And let's just be honest, that could happen in this fight. What do you think, Alucard?
Yeah, I will second what you said. I'll take it a step further because we're not scared. You try to not hide it, but temper.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I I I Greg Hardy can go fuck himself. I
yeah.
know he'd beat the shit out of me, but I wish he wasn't in the UFC. That being said, the guy can hit. He's got some of the best power in the heavyweight division. That, to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
in the whole heavyweight division, he's one of the most powerful strikers there. He's still very raw. He's still very new to the sport. And I hate it pains me to say he's not bad. He's not a bad fighter. He does stupid things. He makes stupid mistakes.
His
Um,
cardio is bad. His cardio is real
his
bad. Oh my
cardio is
god.
awful. His cardio
Yeah.
is awful. I'm not saying he's ever gonna be a contender, but I'll also say he's not a bad fighter. I think he wins this fight too. Simply because I think he's a little bit better, and I think he catches them like he's called all of his wins. Um,
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're gonna say Greg
you know
Hardy
what?
for this one. Yep.
You know what I'm hoping for? Another DQ. Let's go.
Yeah. You never know. You never know, Alucard. I mean, he's notorious so far for having those DQs, so you never know. All right. So the next one is going to be a battle for the girls, a flyweight belt between Jillian Robertson, proud Canadian fighter right there, from my homeland, and Talia Santos. And unfortunately, I feel like this whole, fight card is for most of them are going to be, it pains me to say, because it pains me to say that as much as I will always root for a Canadian to win, Talia Santos is no joke. If you've ever seen her last few fights, and I'm actually, that's who I'm going for. It pains me to say I'm gonna go against my hometown roots, and I hate doing this, but it just, Julian Robinson, you've gotten so much better. It's just that Talia Santos, whether it's on the ground, which she's amazing at, whether it's standing up, which she's an amazing striker, she's the only one I believe that's beaten Molly McCain as well. That's Talia Santos. So I just don't see how Julian Robinson's going to prevail. I mean, just because her record's been like on and off, and it hasn't been consistent as well. So I'm definitely rooting for Talia Santos to win. What do you think, Alec Carr?
I would agree with you. Um, you're right. Jillian
Sad.
has gotten better, but
I don't like
but
doing this. you know?
You're
Uh,
right. Talia, she's a beast. I don't, and I would agree with you too. I don't see Jillian's path to victory in this fight. I don't know what she does. I don't know how she wins this fight. I can't see it. I can't plan it. Maybe you can, but I would just go if I'm in her corner. I'd be like, you go out there, you be the best you can be, and see what
yeah.
happens.
Yep.
um,
Pretty
because
much.
Talia,
Pretty much.
I think Molly McCain's no joke, and Talia just beat her earlier this year. Um,
Really
so
dominant too. It was a very dominant victory
yeah,
by
it
her.
was,
So
and I'm gonna have to go with Talia on this fight as well.
yeah.
I'm
It's
going
crazy
early.
because
I'm going early TKO too.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
I'm going probably second round because I'm thinking second round TKO because I think Robertson, she's very tough, but then at the same time I've seen like the mistakes that she's made. The only way I can see her winning, which I don't see her winning, is on the ground. Just because she's been better on the ground, she's been tougher, and her skill set's better. But like just Talia alone just is been better on the ground. She's dominated again Molly McCain in both striking and on the ground. So there you go. That's the reason why. Unfortunately, it pains me to go against my hometown, but I have to. All right. So next fight we have for the bantamweights. This is an exciting fight in my opinion. You got Marlon Moraes versus Rob Font, and I really want to see Marlon Moraes come back. That's like my wish, just because like that fight against Corey Sandhagen. I mean, he just got destroyed. His leg just got destroyed in that fight, pretty much. And I'm, I think he can pull it off. I think he can pull it off against Rob Font. I want to see what kind of Marlon Moraes we're gonna get, though. I want to see a more aggressive Marlon Moraes. But that's the thing. This one for me is a little bit close, just because I don't know which Marlon Moraes we're gonna get. Are we gonna get the Marlon Moraes that's just gonna hang around and let Rob Font do his thing, or we're gonna get the Marlon Moraes that I know and love, and go in there, attack the legs, go in there, with your quick striking and all that. So what do you think, Alex? Because this one is a very tough one for me to choose. I'm leaning towards Marlon Moraes, though.
I haven't disagreed with you yet, and I'm not going to here. Marlon Moraes should win it. I'll even take it step further. He should win this fight.
Yeah.
Um, but are we going to see, like you said, are we going to see the Moraes that comes out, gasses himself out real quick? And Rob Font is an excellent boxer,
Yes.
excellent. Like like has some of the most crisp hands in MMA. So not
Yeah.
just UFC, in the entirety of MMA.
Mhm.
So this is a guy that knows how to box. He knows how to stay away from a guy. He knows how to use his length. Um, but I would say Moraes is the better all around fighter. He just has the problem with gassing himself out. I, I
Yeah.
just I think he's got to win this fight. I think this is Dana White saying, "I'm putting you up against a solid UFC vet. You better
Yeah.
beat this fight if you want to get back in contention."
Yeah.
Um,
I agree.
and um, I'm gonna side with Moraes because I do think he's a better fighter. I do think he's aware of his situation and his status in the UFC. Um, he's got to get back in the winning column, and he's got to beat Rob Font. And I think what I would absolutely love to see is him come in with better cardio. Like,
Yes.
just
Yes.
please, for
I
once, dude. Like, you got no offense to the little guys, because I'm a little guy, but you got no excuse, man. Like, it's not like you're out
yeah.
there heavyweight. Like, you're a smaller fighter. Like, his weight
Yeah.
cut is, I mean, it's big, but it's not huge. Like, there's no reason for him to have not good cardio. And it's been his downfall. So hopefully he fixes that and he comes in and he does work and handles Rob Font, moves on to the next one.
I agree. I agree. So we're gonna move on to this fight. Is actually a little bit exciting for me. I know you're really excited for it. Me too. It is Michelle Pereira. I'm gonna say it properly. Michelle Pereira versus Chaos Williams. Chaos freaking Williams. I'm always so excited whenever I see him fight. I think he's going. I think he could win against Michelle Pereira because Michelle Pereira, like, he does, his striking is decent. It's just that I feel like he doesn't do all that much sometimes when he fights. But maybe that's just me, like watching his fights, and I just don't see him doing too much. But I think Chaos Williams. I'm going Chaos Williams. Like, ever since I saw that KO, it's really hard for me to choose against the person who has the better KO power. At the end of the day. So, what about you, Alucard? What do you think? Are you gonna disagree with me? Or are we gonna be on the same page for pretty much the entire card?
I'm not going to disagree with you here. The only way I see is Freya comes in without doing all the craziness that he's known for. If he comes in focused and has a good, clean, crisp fight, I think
Yeah.
he could win this fight. I think if he goes to his strengths and stops doing his crazy nonsense, I think he wins this fight. But if he comes in there doing backflips and like
That's what
fainting
I'm telling you.
spins and
Yes.
he's gonna get caught on the chin. KS
Yeah.
Williams is no joke. He will knock you out by grazing your chin, and you won't wake up until the next fight starts. Like
First
this guy,
punch. First punch, Alucard, you remember? That was the first
yeah.
punch ever thrown in that fight, and Chaos Williams just nailed it on the dot. And so I'm I'm thinking I'm thinking I don't know, Michel Pereira is going to be very, very focused. I think he's gonna get caught, to be honest with you.
I don't see him changing his fight game plan. I don't ever see him changing it, and I think that's his downfall
Yeah.
ultimately, that he will never change it. Um, and this is definitely the other thing that not a lot of people are talking about. This is both of these fighters' hardest fight so far.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
why I also love this fight, because these are two guys who
They're
are
equal.
really,
They're equal.
they're
Yeah.
equals. They're up and coming. They got something to prove. They both want to be in title contention soon. So I just think chaos. We haven't really seen. I mean, I'd like this to see it go 3 rounds and see how chaos can handle that. But I don't think it does. I think he catches
I don't
him
think it will.
maybe.
Yeah.
I think he'll catch him maybe in the second round. He'll probably do a lot of waiting and waiting for his punch and maybe throwing the jab to set up a power punch, because for
Mm-hmm.
it, I can't say his name right now. um, for
Michel Pereira, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I was
No problem.
uh, struggling to get it out. Um, he does his crazy movement. is crazy, and it will be his ultimate downfall. But it also will extend this fight for him because he knows Chaos knows he can't just go in there swinging because this is a guy that can hit you out of nowhere with a power shot. And so I think this does go to the second round, but I think it's a second round knockout for Chaos.
There you go. Me too. All right, this one is a little bit tough for me. I'm not gonna lie. Jose Aldo versus Marlon Vera. I don't know why. Okay, it pains me to say it. Okay, this like I said, this card like for some reason it's like that. I don't know which Aldo is gonna come back because I love the Aldo versus Jan. I love that Aldo. It's just that, but against Chito Vera, which I do not like Chito Vera. Let's just put that out there. Disclaimer: I am not a fan of him outside the octagon. It's just I don't know. Do you think Aldo has a chance? Because I personally am choosing Chito Vera to win this fight, just because I don't know which Aldo is gonna be present to come Saturday.
I may be picking with my heart here.
See,
but
I want to pick with my heart too, but I can't.
Listen to my reasoning. Listen to my reasoning because I don't think I am.
Okay.
Chito Vera is coming off of a fight with where he got extremely lucky. Yeah. Right? We would both agree that Sean O'Malley did not get hurt by his leg kicks. He got hurt by a non-contact injury. Chito can say that he hurt him all he wants, but I saw differently, and a lot of people saw differently.
Yeah, I saw differently.
Dana White saw differently, too. So, and then he acted like an ass afterwards, taking all the credit, saying, I mean, you can take all the credit you want on winning off an injury, but you gotta say the one thing you gotta say is it sucks he got hurt. I wish I could have fought him at full, but goddamn, I bounced on him and I got him out of there and I capitalized off that injury. Now that all being said, I know Chito's a legit fighter, good fighter, but I'm just gonna say Aldo's still good.
He's still good. His boxing is amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, and I know you know that, but I just want to say against Peter Yan, he was good. He looked like the old Aldo. He looked like young Aldo. He was throwing those body punches and getting off his leg kicks. And it wasn't until Yan's gone and he did what he did and he waited and he took his opportunity and he capitalized. Bear is not on the same level as Aldo, and that's all I'm saying. Bear is not there, and I think Aldo comes in and he's got to prove something because he's coming off 3 losses. Granted, to all legit fighters, but coming off 3 losses, he's getting a little bit older. This is a perfect fight for him to come in and say, I can still channel the young Aldo and I can beat the shit out of Chito Vera. And I think that's how it goes. I think it goes. I don't think he wins by TKO. I don't think he wins by knockout. I think he wins by unanimous decision and handily decision.
Here's my thing. Okay, so Aldo was doing great work, against Peter Yan, but then Aldo got tired. I believe after the 3rd round or something like that. That's my biggest thing. I want that kind of Aldo to come back, right? And I feel like if this is gonna go to decision, he might get tired after the 2nd round. He might, just because he has something to prove, he might be putting on a great show of great clinic, but he might get tired, after the first 2 rounds. And then what? So I'm just saying there's opportunity right there. And you never know which Aldo is gonna come and be there, because I want the Aldo that was against Yan, but I can't guarantee that because he wasn't always that Aldo the last few times he's lost or last few times he's competed. That's why I have to choose Vera. I have to choose Vera just because I don't know. At the end of the day, Alucard, I just don't know.
I just can't see where Aldo puts up a good fight against Yan, him coming in against Vera and struggling. Because let's be honest, Vera's never going to be on the same level as Yan. Aldo, at this point in his career, isn't even on the same level level as Jan, and he still put on a show for the first 3 rounds. You're right, he did gas out. I would gas out against Jan in that fight too. He was landing some heavy, heavy shots.
Yeah.
When he took over the fight, he took over the fight,
Yeah.
and we both know that's what Jan does. So you're right. I mean, that's not the same Aldo we've seen it over the last fight, but I believe he knows
Mhm.
like a lot like Moraes. He knows his
Yeah.
situation. He knows his standing. He's been in the fight game forever. He knows, and he's gonna come in. He's gonna handle his business. And he's gonna put Cheeto to rest and stop the small Cheeto following that's started since the O'Malley fight, and just stop it in his tracks and say, Cheeto, go go back to the prelims,
Yeah.
please.
All right. All right. Next, the last fight is obviously you got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Jeff Neal, and I'm choosing with my heart. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has a special place in my heart, obviously. So I'm definitely choosing him to win this fight. I think it could be a unanimous decision, except that Jeff Neal does hit pretty hard. So what do you think, Alikar? Quickly, because I don't know if we're gonna agree on this or not. Actually.
Unfortunately, unlike the last fight, unfortunately, we are not gonna agree.
Oh
I love.
man.
I I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't pick him as much as I want to. Much as I want to pick Stephen Thompson, as much as I love Stephen Thompson, he's a staple in the UFC. A
Yeah.
staple. I love his fight style. It's different. It's unique. His karate stance that he's known for. Um, but I think Jeff Neal's a real deal. And
Yeah.
Stephen Thompson even said it. I think the UFC looks at me as the gatekeeper that at this point in my career, and I think he's right. He is the gatekeeper. He's that guy to. We talked about this last stream, like Dos Santos.
Yeah.
He's that guy who is the guy that proves if you're real or not, right? He's the
Yeah.
guy you put up against the new guy to prove, and that's what this fight is. It's clear that's what this fight is. And I just think I think Neal's the absolute real deal. And he, I think it's a really good fight. I just think Neal's power is going to bother Thompson.
Yeah.
Kind of like Vincent Luke did. And I don't think he's,
Okay.
I don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Lukey. I love him. I love that karate style. It's anybody who comes in with a different fighting background than most fighters. I
Yeah.
root for, and I will root. I will root for both of them because I like them both. But I will root for Stephen Thompson to win this fight. But I think Jeff Neal ultimately wins. I don't know. I can't make a call if it's KO or TKO or unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Um, I'm siding more towards unanimous decision. It's hard to get a hold of Thompson.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. A unanimous decision is what I'm thinking for Thompson too if he wins. So
Yeah, he's because of his karate background. It's hard to land a clean shot on him, right? Because
yeah,
he's so
yeah,
quick,
for
he
sure.
bounces in and out. He's always on his toes. It doesn't matter what round he's in. He's always on his toes. He's always bouncing. So
Mhm.
I think Neal wins by unanimous decision.
All right. So we will disagree on a few of them, but that's okay. This is the last fight card of the year. It's go. We might. I'm thinking we could do shows next week and just like do headlines as well. We could do something like that. Maybe a mini show, just because I know that we're not gonna have a fight to talk about, but that's okay. We can talk headlines pretty much all day. We spent like 30 minutes, just 30 minutes alone talking headlines. So that's what we're going to do next week, people. And that's I usually end the show by previewing the next fight card. It's just that there's no fight card coming up, but there's definitely all these headlines that I'm sure Dana and UFC will be busy, marketing pretty much the fights that are coming up. Holiday versus Cater. I don't know why I didn't talk about that. That I'm looking forward to that fight next year. It's just that I don't know, man. We already know why. Me and Alikar are just like, what, Holiday shouldn't be fighting Cater. He should be fighting, or he should have a rematch, or he should fight at least somebody in the top three, like Korean Zombie. We talked about that in a little bit, and we're probably gonna talk about it. We're probably gonna talk about it next week. That's for sure. And let's see, Alucard, if you just want to model your T-shirt, because I want to get that right again. If you guys want to buy our Fights Unwrapped merch, you can go to teespring.com/fights-unwrapped. There you go. I got that right. Perfect. I can't wait. Mine is still coming in the mail. Mine's still coming in the mail. So I can't wait for that. We also
Guys, you
have
live in
mugs.
Canada.
Yeah, I know, right? Just freaking Canada, right? So there you go. All right, everybody. Hope you guys have a good night. Everybody. See ya.
Happy fight week.